How's it going, everyone? This is Kevin. Today I want to bring along with me to tell you why I really chose the Sony A7 IV over my Sony A7 III and R3, and hopefully it'll help you out with your decision if you're looking to upgrade your camera. So let's jump right into it. If you're looking to buy a new full frame camera or basically are setting up to upgrade your camera, hopefully these reasons why I chose the Sony A7 IV over these two cameras will help you out in your decision making and see if it really is worth the upgrade for you like it was for me. So let's dive into a scenario where it comes down to that you have the budget to get any of these three cameras and you're trying to decide which one is best for your needs and why it would be better to get one over the other, which I'm going to kind of break down my train of thought of how I went into getting this camera and why I chose this one over these two. The first reason why I chose the A7 IV over these two is just because it's an actual true tone hybrid camera with phenomenal photography with a 33 megapixels and the 10-bit video versus these two where one of them has 24, the other one has 42 megapixels, but they both have 8-bit color. Now obviously the A7R3 is not known to be a hybrid camera and I didn't really want to put it into the video, but I know the reason why I put it is mainly because it's that sweet spot between the A7 III with a 24 megapixels versus the A7 IV with a 33. It's just that mid place basically between these two cameras with a megapixel count since they both have video capabilities. So for me it was just a huge step to have a true hybrid camera that can make phenomenal video because in today's society with social media you have to have really good video as well as your photos. So when it came down to having better color range with a 10-bit video, the A7 IV obviously took it far because these both have only 8-bit video. So with the content creation that I want to make, it just made sense to have a camera that can make phenomenal stills and video. The second reason why I went with the A7 IV is just the 33 megapixel count is just a sweet spot where this one has 42 and this one's 24. So this is just at the mid-ground kind of level of those two cameras. So it was more than enough megapixels for me to be able to do the photography that I would want to do, which just made sense since 42 megapixels is a great megapixel count to have if you're wanting to crop a lot, which for me, I tend to not crop as much. And the 24 is just a phenomenal size as well because the file sizes aren't as big. So now with a 33 megapixel count, it just was kind of that in-between spot where I knew how much I can handle with 42 megapixels files versus a 24 and how much I knew that I would need to crop or not crop. So it just made sense to go with this one in that aspect. That's one of the reasons why, again, that I decided to bring the A7R3, even though I know that the A7 IV is the updated version of the A7 III, because some people are gonna be like, well, that's not even the real camera to compare it to. But it kind of is, since it actually is a great amount of megapixels compared to what this one has. It's not that far off. And now you have good video to be able to go with this camera to make it a phenomenal stills photography and the video part of this to make it a phenomenal camera when it comes down to basically having this camera with the megapixel counts and the video depth. Now, third reason is going to come down to the price point. The Sony A7 IV for just the body is $24.98 on B&H. The A7 III for the body is $19.98, and the A7R3A, which I have the R3, the RA is just basically like an updated LCD screen, and that's pretty much it. Nothing else, is at $27.98. So as you see, it's just a bit of kind of like that mid-range as well with megapixels, and the price point kind of has the setup where it's the cheapest, the next, and then the next. So for me, it just made sense that for the price point that I'm having my A7R3, if I were to buy something new, it makes more sense to go with this one because I'm getting more bang for my buck when it comes down to the camera itself. I have 33 megapixels, which is more than enough, but I have 10-bit video color depth, which is phenomenal when it comes down to color grading and making better videos for myself. You get the 4K 60 cropped, so it's not that big of a deal for me to have the cropped, and you get the 10-bit 120 frames per second. Even though it's 1080p, it's still phenomenal. So it just kind of made sense for the price point. I'm getting more bang for my buck when it comes down to these cameras. Now, I will say that if you were to just get a camera from upgrading, let's say if you had a crop sensor camera or maybe a A7 II or A7R II and you're looking to upgrade, these two are still phenomenal cameras to this day. You just have to see what's best for you, if you're really gonna be doing a lot of video or not. But for me, I just knew that with the way social media is going, for the price point, it just made sense to have a 10-bit color video camera capabilities than 8-bit and also have phenomenal stills. So that's just something that I wanted to kind of throw out there, since most people will kind of go, well, these are great cameras, which I totally agree with. The only drawback for me now is a 10-bit color that they don't have. Another great thing about the Sony A7 IV is the updated autofocus system, the flip out screen as well. So for the longevity of how I would have this camera for the length of time, it just made sense to go for the 2500 versus having something for 2000 or 2800, because you have more customization in the A7 IV than these two cameras, and you also are able to have the CF Express Type A cards if you want to for faster readouts and everything, which you don't even need to get, as I made a video about that already. But it just has great capabilities for upgrades for 2500, which just makes so much more sense to invest in my system with this camera over these two, because it can get me a lot more bang for my buck. So all these little reasons played a huge factor into my decision into choosing the A7 IV over these two cameras. And I just wanted to share that with you in case you're on the fence to see what camera you should upgrade to. I know probably the biggest hurdle will be now is trying to find one of these because of the shortages, but hopefully you'll be able to get one if you're looking to get one of these cameras, because at the end of the day, it's what makes sense for you guys. I'm just sharing my opinion on what's worked for me in hopes that it'll work for you. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.